Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done a video. That's because I honestly just don't have much time. But last time I took the car out, I had a leak in the cooling system. So I thought it was the expansion tank. Turns out it wasn't. It was actually the water pump itself. So let me show you the water pump. So I got it off the car. This is the back of the water pump. And there was a leak kind of in this, in this area up in here. And I'm going to show you. You can't really see where the leak is. Everything's back together. This plate on the back comes off. You can see in here I've got sealant and a gasket. Before, when I took this off to do some work on it, I just put sealant in there. It lasted 4 years, but eventually just had a little pinhole leak up in this area somewhere. So what I've done now is I cut a gasket out of gasket material. Here's an example of it. This gasket, this is the first one I built, and I just cut it by accident. But you just get gasket material at the store, make a couple marks, cut out what you need. So we did that. Put it on here. A couple things to note on the backing plate. These two, the upper and lower bolts, the heads are shaved just a little bit. Not sure if you can see it there, but the heads are actually a little narrower than these heads. That's because it needs to clear where the timing cover is. But clean up your surfaces, clean this up, put it on, clean up everything you can, and then get it back on the car. I'll show you what it looks like on the car real quick, and I'll tell you what the biggest problem is with this thing. So let's see. This is the front of the car. So we've got here, sorry, I got my light in the way, the outlet from the intake manifold, the bypass that goes out of the intake manifold as well into the water pump, so that's just a hose. Then we have the two inlets for the pump itself. So one here, sorry, outlets for the water pump. One here, no diverter is in there, but no thermostat. Here's the timing cover. Remember I said the timing cover, maybe a little bit of contact right here for that lower bolt, no contact where the upper bolt goes, which is right in here. So that's the timing cover there. And then the other outlet from the water pump into the block there. Again, no diverter, no mini thermostat. Just clean that up and put everything back on. You do need to remove the, not sure if you can see it, but you need to remove the power steering pump reservoir needs to come off. And then over on this side, I just bent the dipstick tube out of the way, but I did need to take off the tank, the expansion tank, because there was no real good way to get the expansion tank off. Let's talk about that real quick. That's the biggest problem here, is that stupid expansion tank. I tell you what, getting the water pump on and off isn't too big of a deal. It's that expansion tank that always gives me a problem. And the reason is because of this. It's the thermostat where it goes into the housing. So this thermostat obviously has two sides. Spring side goes in the intake manifold. And so here's the deal. There's a little bit of a recess where the thermostat sits, and see how she sits in there almost nice and flush. I always have trouble when I go and put the tank on here. Sorry, kind of stuff's in the way, but when I put the tank on here, I end up sometimes knocking that off, or it slides. I've had once it went like this. It just was off by just a little bit. Everything bolted down, and it leaked terribly. So what I suggest is putting a little bit of sealant on there, letting it sit so that the thermostat won't come off no matter what, and then set the tank on, do your sealing, and put everything together. That's about it. Look, it's maybe an hour to take everything apart, and then maybe 2 hours to put everything together, just because you're trying to be careful with the sealant. And that's the biggest thing I think on these, is taking your time. Even if you're using new gaskets, is to use sealant as well, because you just don't want to get back in there again. So when I did it with the sealant just on the pump, if you remember, I mentioned I did just sealant on there. I didn't put a paper gasket. I will say in that leak, it's just a pinhole leak. That lasted about 4 years before it leaked on me. So you can take a chance, or this time I'm doing a paper gasket and everything else. That's it for today, guys. I'll get it running again, and we'll see what else goes bad in the future. All right, see ya. Bye.